Cards from Phyrexia All Be One have been leaked on the internet, and these cards look amazing. These cards are going to be game changing for both the power level in Standard and the storyline in Magic the Gathering. So stay tuned. In this video we are going to go around some of the most important and interesting leaked cards. So of course this video is going to be spoiler heavy. You're going to get a lot of the story spoiled and you're going to get a lot of the cards spoiled. So if you don't want that, turn off now. But of course we hope you'll stay.
While we were making this video, new leaks actually popped up. So yesterday 33 rare cards were spoiled from Phyrexia OLB1, and today even more leaks appeared. So we're going to attempt to put them in this video as well, and we're going to go over them now.
So a lot of cards were leaked. To be exact, 33 cards were leaked yesterday. While many of these cards look absolutely bonkers, I've picked a few that I think are the most interesting and most powerful. So I'm going to present the cards for you, and I'm going to give you my insights into what I think these cards would be really good at. The first card I have chosen for you is Zenith Chronicler. So Zenith Chronicler is a 3/1 for 2 mana. It's an artifact creature. It's going to be nice for those aggro decks out there because it can swing early game and can swing for a lot of damage if it's not put to stop early on. It's going to punish your opponent for playing multicolored spells, since whenever an opponent plays a multicolored spell, all other players are going to draw a card. And if you're not playing multicolored spells and your opponent is, you are going to get a lot of card draw from this card early on. Last thing I think is really nice is that this card draw ability is going to make this card really valuable in Commander, because a lot of Commander decks are multicolored. So if you're playing this in a Commander deck, you're going to make card draw all around the table, and that could be a lot of fun, I think. Next up is Venerated Rock Priest. It's a 1/2 creature for 1 green mana. Rock Priest, it's a powerful early drop. It's a 1-drop, and you're going to get a 1/2 for 1 mana. That in itself is good. It has Toxic 1, so you can punish your opponent early on by giving them poison counters. And it makes targeted removal really awkward for your opponent, since every time a creature you control is targeted with a spell, they get a poison counter. So if they're trying to make target removal on your creatures, they're going to get punished for it. And you can even abuse this nice little ability yourself, because if you target your creatures with spells, they also get poison counters. So this is a really nice and abusable ability that could make for a lot of fun and make those poison counters become really scary really fast. Next up is also a green creature, is Thrun, Breaker of Silence. Thrun is a 5/5 creature with trample for 3 colorless and 2 green mana. And it's really hard to deal with because it is uncounterable. That means that you can't counter this spell. That in itself is really powerful. So a 5/5 with trample that can't be countered. And as long as it's your turn, it is indestructible. This creature can only be targeted by green spells and green abilities that your opponent controls. And since there's not much removal in green, this creature is going to be absolutely impossible to remove from the battlefield. Next up is Skrell's Hive. It's a nice little enchantment, and it's a nice early drop card. So an enchantment for 1 colorless and 1 white is a nice early drop. It pumps out little 1/1 toxic creatures every turn. It reminds me a little about Bitter Blossom actually, and this card gets even more bonkers later on, because if you're going to get your opponents to have some of those nice poison counters, and I believe this set is going to be able to deliver on that part. And this card gets even more dangerous later on, because if you are able to give your opponent 3 poison counters, this card also have the Corrupted trigger. What this means is that as long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creatures you control with Toxic have lifelink. That means all these little mites or whatever they are pumping out are going to get lifelink, making it even harder to kill you. Next up is a nice red enchantment called Urabrask Forge. I think this red enchantment is going to be really great for red aggro decks, because what red aggro needs right now is going to have those finishers, so you don't flop out with not having enough burn spells later on in the late game. And I think this card is going to be the solution to that problem. It's going to be able to pull out a lot of creatures every turn with haste and trample, and these creatures are going to get more and more powerful. Each turn you're going to put a counter on this enchantment, and then you pump out a hasty creature with power equal to the number of counters on the enchantment. Furthermore, if you have proliferate cards, this could get out of hand really quickly. This enchantment is going to enable you to pump out ball lightning type creatures every turn, and that in itself is great. Even more, it's not legendary, so you're going to have multiple copies of these cards on the battlefield. I think Red Aggro is going to love this.
So these leagues, besides being really heavy on awesome and really powerful rare cards, also have a huge impact. It cannot be overstated on the storyline of Magic the Gathering. Because, and again, spoiler warning, go away now if you don't want to know anything about the storyline being changed. Jace used to be the poster boy for Magic the Gathering, and this time around, Vraska, his beloved Vraska, is going to make sure he gets completed. The previous lead that we had, I'm just going to put it on the screen for you right now, was actually accurate. It does seem like if these cards are real, we will have Nissa, Vraska, and Jace, all three being completed and joining the Phyrexian fight. Let's also have a look at a really great card. Let's look at Phyrexian Arena, because yes, it is getting a reprint in this set. As you can see, the very lovely flavor text says, "For a bittersweet moment, Jace believed he could still save his love. A moment was all Vraska needed. For the glory of Phyrexia," she whispered. Now, how cool is that in terms of flavor, but also getting a reprint of Phyrexian Arena?
That is actually kind of awesome. Also because that art is gorgeous. And one card that does not have very awesome art is actually Phyrexian Arena. So I'm going to look forward to have a little replacement for my decks.
So another storyline you might be familiar with if you're into the lore behind Magic the Gathering is how the plane of Mirrodin came to be. It was Karn's plane, he created it, but unfortunately he also infected it with glistening oil, so all the creatures turned Phyrexian, except for a very little group that weren't turned into Phyrexians because they managed to hide and create the Mirrodin Resistance. A child was born here, a young girl named Melira. Melira was unsusceptible to this fungi that infected everybody else, so she was shunned and put into a forest where Thrun, the green card you just talked about, found her and raised her, and she's making an appearance in this set as well. Have a look at her here. It's very interesting because she's not susceptible to the Phyrexian oil either, so she might be, as the card says, the living cure. And I think her mechanics fits very well with the storyline, and I am super excited to see what this means for the whole battle of the Phyrexians against, well, everybody else. So please consider hitting the like button if you're getting any value out of this video. Maybe also consider subscribing. We would also love to know, are there any of these new leaks that might find a home in one of your decks? Let us know down in the comment section.
And also, as we just mentioned in the start of this video, we think this set is going to be a game changer. We're going to see a lot of new stuff happening with the timeline, and also I think we're going to see a lot of these cards in standard gaming, because really soon sets are going to rotate. A lot of the old multicolored lands are going to rotate out, and we're going to get a reprint of the rare land cycle from Scars of Mirrodin. So that in itself is going to make many of these cards being playable, and the power level is just out of this world. So this might also be a set that you might want to go purchase, maybe for playing, maybe for collecting, because this set is going, I believe, is going to have a lot of notoriety added to it later on.
Just hang on, we're going to put the rest of the leaks on the screen for you now, so feel free to pause and just scrutinize all of these cards while we just talk a little about the rest of it. So the power level is really high, but I also think that the storyline they're bringing out here does really follow up on their promise that this would really change the fabric of the entire multiverse. It also looks like we are getting that soft reboot with some of the main protagonists. One of the huge characters, such as Jace, is actually perhaps leaving, dying, or maybe he gets healed later on, but a big change is coming for Magic the Gathering. If you want to watch more videos like this video, please click on this video up here where we talk all about our predictions for Phyrexia or will be one, and you even predicted Phyrexian Arena.
Yeah, so
cool.
One of my predictions actually came true because I don't have the best of track records.
So thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again soon.